Hey, if you've been considering Brava roof tile for your house, your next question probably is going to be, what is it going to cost? So in this video, we're going to actually talk about what a Brava roof might cost you on your house, but we're also going to compare that with other roofing materials like stone-coated steel and concrete tile. All right, so Joel, we're not going to be able to really specifically talk about what is a roof going to cost, a Brava roof going to cost for my specific house, right? We've got to talk in generalities. So to start with that, what is an average size roof here in your market?
Sure, so there's a lot that goes into that, right? So you take the square footage of your home. Everybody wants to know, hey, give me a ballpark, right? My house is 2,500 square feet, let's say. And that doesn't really give us enough information. We're trying to get the square footage of the roof itself. And so imagine if you were to flatten the roof out, it's obviously in that situation going to be much bigger than 2,500 square feet. Because the square footage of your home, that's not going to account for pitch and cuts and angles, things like that, right?
Okay.
So having said all that, in Houston, we have big homes here. The average average roof size, we call it a square, and that's a 10 by 10 area, or 100.
10 foot by 10 foot, right?
Yes, sir.
100 square feet.
Exactly. And so the average roof here in Houston is about 40 squares, or 4,000
square feet. That's big.
Of roof space.
Okay. All right, we were just talking about the fact that there's all these factors that come into play. So you talked about the pitch of the roof, right? So that's how steep it is.
Right.
How cut up the roof is, right? The number of facets. Like, this is a very complex roof here. It's not just your typical gable roof.
Right.
Other things that come into play. What are some other things? Access?
Sure. So yeah, 1 story, 2 story, how steep it is. That has to do with how fast we may be able to do the roof potentially. You know, obviously on a steeper roof, we all have our safety gear on, we're all tied off, and it's just going to take longer, so it's going to add to the labor cost of the roof.
Okay, and then, so well, a good example would be also, like, if you can't get your dump trailer next to the house to be able to throw all the stuff into the dump trailer or hand it down into the dump trailer, that's going to affect the cost too, right?
Sure. And then, you know, if what you have on your roof currently, so shingles,
good point.
For instance, you know, would be a lot of Brava roofs that we do. They'll have shingles on it. We'll do a tear off of shingles, and people will go back with Brava. They like that because the roof doesn't have to be reinforced, you know, to hold the weight of real clay, and it does end up saving them a little bit of money there. This house actually had painted concrete on it.
Okay.
And so we have to undo that piece by piece, hand by hand, a train of guys passing it all the way down. That obviously affects the cost.
Okay. And it affects the cost because there's more labor involved. What about things like the location of the country? Not just here within Houston, but just on a more broad scale. Location of the country, does that affect it?
Yeah, every market's different. When it comes to price, I really can only speak intelligently about our market, but the price to install a roof in New York or California, it's, you know, there's certainly, it's going to be,
or a mountain town in Colorado.
It's going to be much more expensive.
Right, where it's hard to get the material there. I mean, you're in a big metro area.
Yep.
Supply chain probably isn't too big of an issue, but if you live in Vail, Colorado, could be a lot harder.
So supply chain, the current labor rate, you know, so all of those things are going to affect it, and that's different per market. Now,
there's not just one type of Brava roof tile, right? There's 3 different profiles. Walk us through that, and then how does that affect the price?
Sure. So
what are the different profiles, first of all?
Yeah, sure. So obviously, as you can see today, there's a Spanish barrel tile profile. Then they also have a slate profile with like beveled edges that are all different. It's beautiful. That's going to have different widths to it. And then a cedar shake profile. And so as far as cost goes, the Spanish barrel tile is actually going to be a little less of those 3. Just because all of the field tiles are going to be stamped out of compression molding the same. Whereas your cedar shake, there's more of a lead time. You have a 12-inch piece, a 7-inch piece, and a 5-inch piece. We do them completely random all over the house. But even all the 12-inch pieces have different detail within them. So it's like wild how realistic it is.
Okay.
And I think that goes into the price. And so that's why it's a little more.
Sure. So the Spanish barrel tile, it's cookie cutter. Not cookie cutter product, but the actual tile itself is pretty much the same.
Right.
Whereas the shake isn't.
Right.
You've got 3 different sizes and different looks within each one of those different sizes. Of course, that's going to change the manufacturing process, which is going to affect the price.
Yep, exactly.
Hey, if you're considering a high-end roofing material like standing seam metal, like stone-coated steel, or even a composite product like Brava, let us know in the comment section down below which one you're considering. So the cedar shake that you described, that sounds like that would do great in Colorado. I mean, because there's a lot of shake roofs in Colorado. There's a lot of tile too, but I think the cedar shake would be great.
I think it would be amazing anywhere, but you're right. More homeowners are familiar with real cedar shake. Same thing up north, more homeowners are familiar with slate. Whereas here we have lots of real clay tile roofs. And so I think when people are searching, it's a stucco home. Here, at least, most of our Brava clients it's a stucco home. They have shingles. They want a real Mediterranean look. And they search for what is a better alternative than real clay, right? And so we don't have a lot of people here searching what's a better alternative for real cedar shake or slate.
Because they don't know what it is.
A lot of people here don't, or they're just not familiar with it. You don't pass it, when you're going through different subdivisions here. Yeah.
Okay, and then, so primarily what you're doing here is the barrel tile.
That's what we've done by far the most of. We just finished up a cedar shake that's beautiful. I love it. But most of ours is barrel tile, and they originally had shingles.
Got it. Okay.
And it works really well because their house didn't have to be reinforced, with an engineer signing off on it to hold the weight of real clay.
Yeah.
And so you can tear off the shingles and install Brava.
Oh, okay. So that actually brings up a really good point. Real Spanish barrel tile, clay, concrete, versus Brava, the weight difference.
Well, it's huge, yeah. Real clay is going to be very heavy on your rafters, very heavy on your foundation. You would have to have your rafters completely reinforced to be able to hold the weight of concrete or clay. This will, we don't have to get an engineer out to install Brava.
Right.
All your basic construction standards for Texas code, Brava will go on, and it's solid as a rock. I can drop it off a 2-story roof. You can hit it with a sledgehammer, but it's like super lightweight as well. So that's kind of the miracle of it.
Well, so a tile could weigh 6 to 8 pounds, maybe even more. Mm-hmm. What does one of the Brava tiles weigh?
That's a great question.
Like a pound and a half, maybe, or something?
I don't think it weighs that much. Yeah.
All right. So we've established average roof size roughly here in Houston is 4,000 square feet. Mm-hmm. That's way bigger than where I come from.
Yep.
But let's talk about kind of the per square foot price on average. Mm. Not talking about, what are the different prices for the different profiles, just on average. Mm. Brava roof, square foot price, roughly.
Yeah. Yeah, they say.
On average.
Yeah, everything's bigger in Texas, right? Including our homes and our roofs. But yeah, so you have a 4,000 square foot roof area total. So if you flattened it down, it would be about 4,000 square feet, or we would call it 40 squares.
Right.
Right. So your average per square foot is going to be about $19 or $20 a foot.
A square foot.
Yep.
Okay.
Which would roughly equal about, it's about $1,800, $1,900, per square. So about $75,000, $76,000 for your average home here in Houston.
Okay, and that is or isn't factoring in complexity, accessibility, those other things that we talked about that affect the price.
So it can go up a little from there, but that's been our average so far.
Okay, so
and that most of the homes that we've done have been 2 stories with valleys and hips and some degree of complexity. Rare that we get like an easy straight gable.
So somebody might have sticker shock, $76,000 for a roof, but there's a big but in there. That's the last roof you're ever going to install, right? That is your forever roof. Yeah. Wouldn't you say?
It's so for sure. It's definitely not for everybody.
Right.
We always start with the question of, is this your forever home? Okay. Because if you're planning on moving in the next 5 to 10 years, it might not be the best option for you.
Sure.
So if it's your forever home, and you don't want to have to replace your roof again in 15 to 20 years, factor in the price of inflation. And it's something, our clients that have done a Brava roof, they, instead of going and buying a boat,
Yes.
a money pit boat, they invested into their home. It's really not the people, they're not real flashy. They really aren't people that you would suspect or have more money than they know what to do with typically. It's very practical people who love their home. It's their forever home, and they never want to have to replace their roof again. And they want to make a statement. They want it to be the nicest roof in the neighborhood, and because they love their house.
But they're looking at it long term. It's not a short term,
Yep.
I'm going to fix my hail damage with a Brava roof. It's not that kind of idea.
It's going to outlast, it's going to be around a lot longer than me, for sure.
We already know that some of the competing products for a Brava roof customer are going to be like stone-coated steel and going back on with tile. Walk me through, what's the comparison in price between Brava stone-coated steel, like a Decra product, or Brava and real concrete or clay tile?
Yeah, so in the Houston market, for your average house, that Brava, the real clay tile or Decra is probably going to run you about $1,200 a square.
Okay.
Quick math.
Quick math between that and Brava?
No, like on per foot, basically.
Oh, well, that'd be $48,000.
Yep,
$48,000 roof.
So yeah, $48,000 compared to like for your Brava roof, $75,000.
Okay.
So again, there is a.
And that was for both stone-coated steel or tile.
They're pretty similar.
Okay.
Yeah, they're pretty similar. So it is more of a upfront cost. You save a lot on the maintenance.
Yeah, right. Well, and you can walk on a Brava roof.
You can walk on a Brava roof.
Walking on a stone-coated steel roof isn't always the best idea.
Yep.
Walking on an older tile roof is definitely not the best idea because you can break those pretty easily. You can't really break a Brava roof by walking on it.
Yeah, stone-coated steel, it's going to get algae. They put granules on it, and they actually sell you packets of granules, as if you're supposed to get up there and like disperse them amongst your roof where you have missing little patches. Real clay, beautiful roofing system, but it's definitely not a maintenance-free roofing system. We do repairs on real clay and concrete all the time, and they run anywhere from $3K to $25K.
For the repair?
Oh yeah, just for the repair.
Okay.
Because they break, they chip, they get algae. They're, again, heavy on your rafters, heavy on your foundation. It's not a set it and forget it maintenance-free system.
And here, you don't probably really have to deal with it, but in Colorado, you've got the freeze-thaw cycle. Because that tile can absorb water, it freezes, then it thaws in our harsh Colorado sun, and it can get cracks really easily.
Sure, I would imagine concrete being porous is bad, for that, Yeah, you're not gonna have those issues with a Brava roof.
Yeah, nice.
Hey, are you confused by all the different terms that your roofer and maybe your insurance adjuster are using? Well, watch this video right here where I explain what 12 different roofing terms actually mean.